Diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and we were the scouting staff for the Hula Bowl. Today I have with me one of the participants in this year's event. His name is Ed Lee. He's a wide receiver out of Rhode Island. Nice to have you, sir.
Appreciate you having me, man. Thank you.
So, we saw you as a very shifty slot guy who could also return some kicks at a URI, and wanted to extend that offer and invite you to the Hula Bowl. But before we get to talking about you there, set the stage a little bit. Tell me where you're from and how you got to URI.
So I'm from Maryland. I went to high school in DC, St. John's. And I was recruited out of there by a coach named Ari Confessor, who I believe is at Air Force now. So I actually walked on to Rhode Island. I didn't get a scholarship until my second year there. And then, yep, the rest is history. So that's how I got there.
So, being a walk-on is certainly interesting. I think, obviously there are guys that, are walk-ons all the time, but whenever you do eventually get that scholarship, I mean, it's definitely something special. So talk about that moment real quick before we get rolling.
Yeah, so actually coming out of high school, I had some D2 offers. But I just told my parents, like, I just want to go here. I want to walk on here because it just felt like the place I needed to be. And, going in there, the initial thing was just to get a scholarship. I got to make it easier for my parents. And, I redshirted my freshman year, didn't get it then. They were saying I had to get on the field in order to get it in. So we ended up doing spring ball, and I kind of did my thing in spring ball, and then after that, they rewarded me with the scholarship. So, yeah, it was definitely a great feeling, and it was like just a weight lifted off my shoulders for sure.
So paying your way there at the beginning for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hey, some people got to do it. You said you grew up kind of in the shadow of the nation's capital, around there. So during your time in high school, I have in my notes that you participated in some other sports. Can you elaborate on that a little bit and why you chose football over those others?
Yeah, so I grew up playing football and basketball, and those were just the two main sports that I had just always played. And then high school came around, and I had kind of made it up in my mind, like, if I want to keep going at one of these, I just have to pick one and just spend all my time doing that because, football would end and then basketball would start. So I couldn't work on football while playing basketball. So I just love football. Like, I come from a football family, and I ultimately just picked that. And then I also ran track, but that was, that can help with football too, like speed and stuff. So
Yeah,
that's
so you had mentioned there slightly that you come from a football family. It's reading up on your bio, and it says that your dad played in the league a little bit.
yeah.
Can you just talk about that a little bit and how it maybe has influenced you over the years?
So yeah, I mean, I grew up with football in my life from a very young age, and it's just, I mean, I have a great relationship with my dad, and he's been my coach throughout Little League and even high school a little bit as well. So it's just having that relationship with him also gets me better on the field as well. So, it's great having somebody like that, that I can just call all the time, like, something like that. Yeah.
Well, hey, I mean, it's nice to have a family member who's been there and knows what it takes to succeed in the pros. So, Ed, you eventually got your way there to URI. Talk about that university, if you don't mind, that campus, and what makes that university so special to you?
Um, Well, it was just the atmosphere and the people, and I just feel like it's a great state overall. It's just a lot of like people coming together, like community and stuff like that. So I just felt like it was a good place that I could call home for a couple years, and it ended up being the right place for me.
And I don't know what your academic standing is there yet. I mean, I'm assuming you've graduated at least once.
Yeah.
So tell me what you've been able to do there as a student.
So I got my first, well, I got my degree in communications, and then they were kind of saying you could get a second major or try to get your master's, but I ultimately just wanted to take classes that interested me. So I took some sports media classes, a couple of other classes, and then I just finished. That was it. So I just finished last semester.
So very sports minded in your approach there in college. I mean, obviously, of course, you want to get to the NFL, but after football is done for you, what do you see yourself doing maybe 10, 15 years down the road?
Still football. I just feel like I have to stay around the sport. And I haven't quite figured out what I want to do yet. But I know I've made a lot of connections on the way that can help me. So something around football has to be that.
Well, hey, I mean, obviously, we got something rolling for you already. And buddy, we invited you down to the Hula Bowl. We wanted you to have the opportunity to showcase your talents there. Talk about that for you, that whole experience, whether it be that phone call, that plane ride, or even that week of activities. So, talk me through your overall experience.
It was a great experience, man. I always kind of felt like my talent was somewhat overlooked, pretty much all my life. So to get that invite, to get that call to say I was invited to the Hula Bowl, I mean, that just changed my whole. It just changed the trajectory of where I was going. So, and it's easier to get noticed at an All Star game than not go to one at all. So yeah, it was just a great experience, and I got to compete against a lot of great guys from a lot of great schools too. That I don't usually see at Rhode Island. It was some big schools there as well. So yeah, it was just a great opportunity for me, and I think I made the most of what I could do. So
Well, I mean, we do remember seeing you out there on the field there in Orlando. A fairly sure-handed guy, running some good routes. But the week is really full of a lot of things for you to do. I mean, obviously you got those practices, but we also got NFL scouts for you to sit down and do interviews with, man. Talk about how
yeah,
those went.
so yeah, I mean, I kind of went in there not really on the radar for most people, coming from a smaller school. Um, but I definitely feel like having those scouts there and them seeing what I could do really helped me. And I talked to a couple teams as well down there too. And some teams had emailed me since then as well. So definitely helped me a lot.
So what sort of feedback are you getting from the pros? I mean, are they saying that you're mainly going to be like a special teams guy, or what are they giving you any feedback on in that regard?
They haven't really said specifically anything about that. I know they do talk about returning skills and stuff like that, but nothing set in stone as of right now. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, at most All-Star events, like special teams kind of gets put on the back burner because
Yeah,
they don't want anybody to get hurt.
right.
But hey, I mean, you go out there during practice. I mean, run some good routes and hopefully impress some people. So, um, what do you feel separates you as a prospect? I mean, is there any particular attribute that you feel you excel at more than others?
I definitely think quickness and route running as well, um, and just being able to get separation and set DBs up when I need to. I just feel like that's the strongest part of my game for sure.
So when you're looking at like guys in the pros right now, is there somebody that you're trying to either emulate, or it's somebody maybe that you're a fan of that you like to follow their game?
I kind of pull stuff from all kinds of people. Like Devontae Adams, he has great releases. Keenan Allen, great releases as well in routes. But then I also look at guys like Jamison Crowder, smaller guys that are more similar to what I do. And then, yeah, I just pull from everywhere, honestly.
Well, I mean, there's certainly plenty of guys out there for you to study up on. I mean, you got to learn how to be that savvy route runner, man.
Right.
That's the one thing that's really going to set you apart. So, um, Ed, when you look at like the entirety of your career there at URI, in addition to the Hula Bowl, what are some of the highlights of your career? I mean, whether it be some of the all conference awards, or maybe if there's a particular game or play that sticks out, can you share some of your best moments?
Um, yeah. So there's been a couple games this year that have stuck out to me. The Monmouth game, we went into seven overtimes. And I caught the game winning pass in that game. So that was really
Mm,
big for me. And then the Maine game, Rhode Island hadn't beaten Maine once since I've been there, but two, I think it was getting close to 20 years, like 20 years straight we hadn't beat them. And I had almost like 200 yards in that game, and we won that game too. So that was that was a big, definitely a memorable moment for me as well. And then yeah, just the season overall, it was just good to come out and show what I could do this season. So
well, I mean, you definitely did. I mean, whether it be that one catch in overtime, or that game where you put up all these video game
yeah,
type numbers, but hey man, I mean, you got through it. You got through the Hula Bowl, and buddy, you're an NFL prospect. I want you to kind of wrap your mind around that, man. Like, how does that like feel? Like, what's the vibe around that whole idea?
I mean, you gotta love it, man. As a kid, like this is what you want, like this is what you dream about. So you just always gotta keep that in the back of your mind and like do it for the younger you. So it's definitely a surreal experience, and I'm just enjoying it right now. So
Well, hey man, you gotta go along for the ride and see where it'll take you. We'll see what'll happen. Let's take a moment. I want to step off the field a little bit and talk about Ed Lee, the person. Whether it be some of your likes, dislikes, your hobbies, or anything interesting that you want to share about yourself. So give me a little something.
uh, let's see. I'm a big gamer. Love playing video games. I mean, I don't really, I don't like to go out. I like to just be in the house and chill, play the game with my friends.
So
Um,
when you say you're a gamer, what games are we playing?
I play Call of Duty, 2K, Madden, a little bit of FIFA too. Um, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
All right, all right. Try and see if I can come up with some fun questions for you. Uh, Obviously, maybe perhaps you're a smaller guy, but I mean, I know you get into the weight room occasionally, because
Yeah.
you kind of have to do that sort of thing. What's your favorite
Yeah.
lift there in the weight room?
Mm. I think I'm starting to like squats a lot more. I used to be like a big bench guy, but I'm starting to like squatting. So
Okay, okay. And I don't know how your I don't know, health practices are these days, if you are really strict on your diet, but when you do have a cheat meal, what is that one cheat meal for you, man? Whether it be like a snack or like a full-blown like meal. What is that one go-to thing, hopefully one of these days when you get a moment?
um I mean I would say if I want to go out to eat somewhere, it's either Chipotle or Chick-fil-A. Those are just the two. I'll rotate those. But for the most part, right now, I'm watching what I eat, making sure I'm putting the right stuff in my body for sure. But
Well, sure. I mean, obviously you're
yeah,
an athlete, so I mean, you don't want to
yeah,
do that sort of thing,
yeah,
too often. And I mean, I
right,
think, Chipotle's got a crap ton of calories, so I mean, you'll burn through that,
yeah.
pretty easy. So it's not that big a deal. Um, so Ed, obviously right now you are preparing for your pro day. And looking forward to that, here in the coming weeks, months. Where are you training right now? And talk about some of your expectations for your upcoming pro day.
Yeah. So right now I'm in Fort Myers, Florida, training at X3 Performance. Um, and my expectations is to kill it, man. I mean, I want to run at least a 4.4. Uh, you know, high vertical, broad jump as well, and then I those the L drill and the 5.10.5 is those are where I'm gonna make my money at. I think so.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely
for a
have to
guy
kill it.
like you, man, I mean, you got to get those like short area quickness drills
Yeah,
definitely taken care of. Anything
yeah.
more that you wanted to share?
Um, no, man. I think nah. I think the pro days was gonna make or break me. So, um,
Gotcha. And when is that pro day?
ours is March 22nd.
March 22nd. So certainly something to look forward to for URI. Um,
Yeah.
and as we wrap all this up, I want to give you one last opportunity to give your pitch to all these pro scouts. Tell them why they need to take a chance on you and bring you into their franchise. So go ahead and close this out with that.
I would just say I'm a really coachable player and a smart player as well. And I'll just do what's asked of me and give my all, and I'll work my butt off as well. So I would just say take the chance, and you won't regret it for sure.
Well, definitely a guy who I feel is, fairly sure-handed, knows how to run his routes, can go out there on special teams and be a huge contributor there. So, and really just a guy who, you know, I mean, I know, that, of course, coming from your lineage, you know how to get the job done. You know what it means to look like a professional and to be a professional and a team player. So, um, Ed, do wish you best of luck in this process and good luck moving forward. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Sure. Once again, I got Ed Lee. He's a wide receiver out of Rhode Island. Definitely give him a look.